Currently, I work in a 40-bedded home for residents that are living with dementia, and we have some end-of-life palliative care beds as well. And we're quite remote. We're built on the side of the hill. We don't have the best internet connection. We were watching very carefully what was going on with COVID-19. And we actually closed our home to visitors about 2 to 3 weeks before the national lockdown. We could see what was going on, and we closed very early in comparison to other homes. And our CEO bought us some tablets and a smartphone. And those of us, particularly my age, a little bit technophobic, haven't grown up with computers, were like, oh, what are we going to do with this? So the advantages were that some of the younger care staff who were absolute whiz with a smartphone got those slightly older, more technophobic staff like myself sort of into this. And we started very simply, we just started with a phone. Once we got going, and obviously by then COVID was very much taking hold, we found everyone was in the same boat and we were all trying to work remotely. We started to hold a weekly, regular GP round by using a smartphone or a tablet. So we found lots of benefits. Okay. We were quite surprised because our ward round used to take well over an hour every week, and sometimes could be quite chaotic with things that were going on. Quite difficult to find a time that was suitable for the GP, but also suitable for us. Sometimes things would clash with meal times and drug rounds, or so we found a mutual time, and we took it from there. We also found that because the GP was able to complete their notes in real time while we were having the round, and he was, or she was, on their computer, we saw a significant reduction in any delays in getting treatment to us. Our GPs seem much happier. They've got so much going on, but the way that the rounds are now running, it's smoother, it's slicker, it takes less time. Like I said, they can do what they need to do their end in real time, and it's just less stressful for everybody concerned. We have found that relatives and loved ones are very relieved that they know that their loved one is still being reviewed weekly. We've also found that our residents, they know our GPs really well, and even those residents who have some cognitive impairment, living with dementia, for example, they don't question the technology. I thought they would. But they just look at the smartphone or the tablet. They don't question what it is. They see a face they recognise, and we're interacting, and that was absolutely magical. Prior to COVID, we were using fax machines, would you believe, and telephone calls, and that was a terrific amount of wasted time and a lot of chasing, and very tricky to get messages, particularly if they were of an urgent or sensitive nature. Now it's much slicker, and we contact them digitally. So using NHS email, for example, you're able to contact your GP directly, and using video consultations. So now it is, we would never go back. The most important thing is planning. Planning is key, and first and foremost, you need to find a suitable time that you're going to have your regular ward round, and for that to be mutually convenient for both the GP practice and for the care home nurse. For our planned video rounds, the day before, we finalise a list of who we would like to be reviewed. We then email that to our GP. Our GP takes a look at it, and then he may or she may add patients to that list as well, because of course they've still got all of their chronic disease patients to manage. They've still got their bread and butter everyday work to do, even though we're all dealing with COVID. So the GP may add some people to the list. So then we agree the list, and sometimes it is a good idea to just verbally at the start of the round, before you actually take the tablet to the resident, that you quickly go through that list together, and for the nurse to make sure that you have got any baseline information that GP may need. So for example, if their news score is slightly different from what their baseline news score is normally, include that. Any other observations, any soft signs that have changed. For example, you know, Mrs. Jones always does the crossword every single morning, and then she goes to the lounge, but for the last 2 days, she hasn't wanted to get out of bed. We haven't found anything acutely wrong, but she's just not right. And those sorts of soft signs are really significant. So we go through the list very briefly first, and then we go round and see the residents. There are homes that are much more digitally mature than we are. So if we can do it, I think anyone can do it. It's just giving it a go. It's just been such a godsend. I think under the circumstances, the residents and their families are just so grateful that they're having some contact and being able to see that person's face. Even if for some of our residents, even if they don't say anything, but just being able to wave or blow a kiss, it's been quite touching. It's really been really tough for everybody, and particularly for the residents and for the relatives. You know, some relatives, they come in and out a couple of times a week. They like to take their loved one out for a walk, and it's been really tough. So yeah, technology has absolutely been great.